My name is Auh'Shay Sanchez. I'm 1/3 of Boys Don't Lie to podcast. And then we got Samari Sanchez, which is my brother, and he's 2/3. And then we got Owen, Berk, B.D.L, and we got Big Motor. He's 3/3. He's the only white person on this podcast. And he's just one of a kind, man, white chocolate. So I'm gonna let him talk on how he met us, because me and Samari are brothers. So obviously we just met through our parents. So.
My name's Owen, obviously. I'm from Derby originally. That's where I was born and raised at. After I graduated high school, I did yearbook and stuff in high school, so I went up to Butler to do sports media. That's where I met Shay at. We had that first class together. We started hanging out, so our friendship kind of kindled there and then kept growing deeper and deeper. We spent 3 years up there together. And then through that time, I was able to, hang out with Shay and come back up to JC and hang out around his family a lot. That's how I met Sam, and then we both have PS4s, and that's how I make all my friends, is just playing video games with them. So, once I start playing games with people, it's usually friendships on lock at that point.
Kind of what happened was, me and Samari, it was supposed to originally be our podcast, and he was doing his own podcast, and it was called the Owen Show. And he was like the middle of quarantine type deal. He wanted something to keep, I guess, from being bored, would you say? And he had his own thing going, and I wanted to do a podcast from the beginning. I've always had people tell me to do a podcast. I had my own radio show at one point, and like with me getting ready to get back into the business and the grand scheme of things, I wanted something to show for it. So I've had a bunch of like people just told me from like radios and just OGs, and people just told me like make a podcast. This is one of the biggest things that's going out now. You need something besides just radio and then your air checks and your resume. That can make your resume look bigger because it knows what you're talking about. So they can hear you talking for long extents of times, and they can tell you that, hey, like da. So I got with my brother, and we were both passionate about music. We're both passionate about sports, not as much as Owen, but we're both passionate about sports. And we were just like, yo, let's make a podcast. So we named it Boys Don't Lie. We were in the room one day and we just came up with it. And then I started making, I'm one of the biggest people about like marketing. So I was like, I'm gonna make the stuff. But then I was going to do it like I think last year, but I was like, no, what? Like make them wait to the end of the beginning of next year. And then me and Sam was actually kind of on it more than me. He was like, we got to do this podcast. He was ready. He was looking through like mics and stuff like that. And then long story short, came to the beginning of this year type deal. And I was in Georgia from December to February visiting family, and then this man Owen had came up to me, and we had got back together before I was getting ready to leave. I think it was kind of like one of those things where I was getting ready to dip, and he was just like, yo, like I know you're finna leave back to Georgia in a week, but like hear me out. I got something I want to tell you. So I was like, man, I'm finna go back to them honeys. I'm finna go back to the sun, the grand scheme of things. Everything finna be better. Like, what could you possibly tell me that's gonna make me stay? And he was just like, hey, like, I want to do the podcast with you. I wanted to tell you this, but I didn't want to change your mind. But if you want to do it, let's do it. He was like, you, me, Samari, like, let's do it. And then we can make it, we can use you guys' name because I like it. And I was like, Boys Don't Lie, let's do it. I told Sam was like, he was with everybody because he thought it was like one of the things we were going to like take him out, but that's my brother. I'm taking him wherever I go. So put him on, and then I think we did it like the next day. We shoot 2 hours out the shit, bro, like straight go, like 2 hours in my room. The next day we did it. It was me, him, my little cousin, and we was in the room. It was super cold with the stove on. Like one of them things where we were trying to trap it out. But honestly, we were like, we're seeing so much like benefits out of it, bro. We're at like right now as I speak, we're probably at like 67,000 listeners all time, bro. Every show is docking at least 3,000 to 4,000 people just listening to it. Our last show is at 15,000. So like we're really doing like numbers. We got celebrities coming on our show. People hitting me up. I'm texting celebrities. We're getting radio people hitting us up. Radio stations flying us out this summer. LA, Charlotte, Miami, some of the biggest cities you know. Besides Atlanta, that's home for me. But like just going, and it's going up.
So usually a typical podcast days, it depends on our work schedule, but usually it's going to be Tuesday to Thursday. Usually on a Wednesday, more consistently, but sometimes we have to do it earlier or later, just due to our working schedules. Don't let this podcast fool you. We definitely are not just bums. We definitely get it in. I'm working 40-hour weeks and still coming in and putting effort in on this. And both of my co-parts in this, because I'm only a third of Boys on a Lot of Podcasts, but both of them are at least putting 35, 40 as well. So we definitely putting in time and effort on and off the court. But in saying that, we usually do a rundown. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of times, unless I'm just seeing something, I don't usually use my phone as often as I used to. I mean, I have Twitter, I have social media, but I'm usually just, if I do that, it's something to skip time. I'm skimming through it, and then I'm getting off. You know what I'm saying? I say my little piece every now and again, but it's just to promote positivity. I don't really try and be on no bullshit, to say the least. But outside that, I'm getting a rundown from Owen. He does an excellent job of giving me all my topics. I'm getting a rundown from Shay, whether it's, sports or music or just pop culture, current events, whatever the case may be. A lot of things, I don't live under a rug, but I'm just so working home. I'm just trying to get to sleep usually, unless it's for the podcast. So get that done. We do a sound check, about 5-10 minutes, make sure we're looking good, and we just run through it. One take Drake every time. We don't stop, we don't pause, we don't skip, we don't do none of that excessive stuff. We just go straight through it. After that process goes, we usually either eat, break, get done, and then just relax, laugh, whatever the emotion is at the end of the show. We just, invest our time into that, and then we depart, go right back into work for the next day. The process is definitely something I love, though, because it just shows how accessible and how talented we are together and individually. We're doing things in technically 13 weeks, which is just shy of 3 months, and people waiting years and years to even get the consistent fan base we've been getting. So it's always show love, always a humbling experience. But we promote through social media just like anybody else. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Shit, we even taking as far as we just uploading it on just the websites that are available to us. We get all of our podcasting comes through multiple different streaming networks. Apple Podcasts, Anchor, what else we got? Spotify, what's the other one? Google. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing like it's not accessible. We try to put it out, but the biggest part that we're doing right now is just consistently hitting up celebrities, hitting up entrepreneurs, hitting up some people that we know are gonna definitely help benefit them, giving them the exposure that we think we deserve, that they need, and then just same vice versa back to us. And we don't take it lightly for them to even give us a time or of their time of day, because usually they're working on music or trying to promote something else, and they're just letting their managers talk to us. And we even get sometimes the opportunity to talk to that person or whatever celebrity, whatever, one-on-one directly, which just makes it even more intimate. So everything is looking up. Boys on a Lot of Podcasts is something that's continuing to grow, and we're not going to stop, and it's just something that we continuously do.
The show to me, it means so much, because I'm not afraid to go out and say it. I spent 3.5-4 years at a community college. I still don't have my associate's degree. Not something I'm proud of, but here we are. So this show to me is everything right now, because this gives me a chance to do what I want to do and get into the career field I want to get into without having that degree. I can make up for some lost time, and so that's why this show means so much to me, and that's why it means so much when all the fans tune in and give us the feedback we need, give us the fan questions that we can answer. I've always said that the fan questions are some of my favorite things to answer, because it's I know that this is something that people want to hear about, and that's where a lot of our best content comes from, because the 50,000-60,000 people that listen come up with some better questions that we can find on Twitter ourselves too. So the fans mean everything to me. The show means everything to me. This is the ticket to get where I want to get without going back to school. So that's for anyone that's been to college or that has been in college and got out or whatever the situation, everybody knows how much school sucks. At least that's how majority of people feel about it. There's some people out there that enjoy it. I think you guys are psychopaths, but you know, it is what it is. Everybody has their own path to the top. I'm hoping that this is our path to get there. So that's why this show means so much. That's why the fans, you guys mean so much to me. Anybody that listens to the show, it's from the bottom of my heart. I don't think any of us can thank anybody enough. And just keep the feedback coming. Whatever we can do to make the show better, whatever we can do to, you know, whatever questions you want answered, we can answer them. You know, we'll do what we can to make it the show as good as possible for everyone listening at home. So
to me, I always come to my senses in a sense when it comes to doing the podcast, because no matter what I'm feeling or what I'm going through, I suppress that just to focus and tap in so I can get the best product to the people that are actually listening to us day in and day out. You know, I say it all the time. I don't take it lightly. I feel like anybody that knows me, or anybody that I'm actually close with, I should say, knows I'm very, very determined. I'm a very, 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 very OCD kind of person. So I always strive for perfection, just effortlessly. I'm not gonna say effortlessly, but you know, unknowingly, I should say it like that. But doing something that is enjoyable and can impact somebody else has always been something I've wanted to do, and we've been doing it through the podcast. I mean, we're getting endless feedback, endless results, and it's just fun. But doing the show probably means more to me right now than the, I guess, clout that we're already starting to get and gain in this short amount of time, because it gives me time to spend time with my brothers. I don't really get time to vacation or take days off, or you know, just simply have a seat at times and just, you know, reminisce or think about things that I want to get done. So taking that 2-hour time, or however long we usually do the show, just gives me that time to be able to feel human again, feel like a little kid, where I can just hang with the bros and speak on the knowledge that I've acquired with the information that's presented to me. Whether it be my love for music, countless love for music. I'm always listening to music, AirPods, speakers, out my phone, it doesn't matter. I don't really like not listening, because I always like to hear something, or actually listen to something, I should say, and understand what that person was trying to present to me. So it's definitely impactful. It's definitely something I enjoy doing, and I don't foresee us stopping no time soon.
This podcasting is honestly one of the best things that's ever happened to me. I've done a lot of things in my life. I've traveled a lot of places doing media stuff, but I feel like, you know, doing it with the people that you love the most, which is one of your best friends and your brother, is just, you know, just a cherry on top of the ice on a Sunday. So one thing I say is I love the fans that we do have, the people, the supporters that I'm not gonna say fans, I'm gonna say the supporters that we have, because we're not there yet. But supporters that we have, man, I'm telling you, I can pull my phone out right now, and I can show you that thousands and thousands of people on Instagram, whether it be Instagram, whether it be Twitter, that people just want to ask us questions to get our feedback. And it's a cool thing to know, because you do this to get people to see it from your perspective. Then you get people actually wanting to see your perspective on different things and hear what you're talking about, or joining your Instagram lives and talking to you about like what they think about what you're saying at the present moment. It's such a, you know, that's the thing. And that's the art of music. That's the art of sports. You can have many conversations on things. Not too far back, we had a friend on the show, and we talked about Kyrie and Allen Iverson, and I think that was one of the best conversations that we've had on the show. That it didn't get released, so it's in an unreleased archive, but it got corrupted. But still, one of the best things that, you know, I've seen Samari get passionate about a player, and I've seen Owen and me and Cam get passionate about a player, and it's just brought us together even more, because you get to let that frustration out, and you get to talk about it. And I mean, it's one of the best things, man. The people that do support us, like, we don't take it lightly, man. 60,000 is big, and especially in the weeks that we've done it, man. We've started this in February, going into May, hoping to have one of the biggest summers ever. Stay tuned to the grams and the snaps and the Twitters, but B.D.L taking over. I wouldn't want it any other way. So.